history as propaganda, history as mythology, about how the organization of history serves to organize people's personality and structure. I think I might have mentioned to you, Pablo, to this audience some time ago, about a very interesting history and a very interesting experiment in hypnosis that dealt with what they call time. When a hypnotist out there in New Jersey hypnotized a group of students and gave them post-hypnotic suggestions, and he changed their time sense. And some he told, when you awaken from this, hypnotic state, you will have no past. All your past will be gone. And others he told, he elaborated their past and gave them an inflated past. Others he took the future from them or inflated their future. And some he even removed their present from them. And it was very interesting, the effects that these suggestions had on their personalities. The ones who had their history removed and their past removed projected orientations of lethargy, laziness, lack of drive, low motivation, sense of purposelessness and meaninglessness in their lives. You see, and the problem with sense of direction. You see, the ones who had their history inflated had, the opposite effect, in a sense. The increased ego, increased pride, and the whole bit, and so forth. The ones, and I can't recall all of it now, who had an inflated future, sort of like going to heaven, experience, in a way, they experience a type of pacified state and a state of relative lack of anxiety, because they weren't worried because they had this great future that was coming on, so like many of our people, they don't deal with what's right in front of them or what's on the ground, because they got this great thing coming in the future time. And those who didn't have a future were caught up into immediate gratification, you see, and they were short-sighted, and they had no vision, and so forth. So you see what I'm getting at. You see, history is a time dimension. Culture is a time dimension. History and culture form a space-time grid, just as you have in algebra, coordinates, so that you can locate a point at different places, so many units from the x-axis, so many units from the y-axis, and you can place that person at that point at a particular location. When you remove a people's past, and when you remove their future, how do they know where they are and where they are going and where they came from? How can they be other than caught up in immediate gratification? That's all they have. How can they not be short-sighted and caught up with just their feelings, you see? And this is the kind of situation that has happened to African people. That's why I talked about we have to move beyond a curriculum of inclusion, because our history has been made discontinuous, you see? And therefore, many of us don't know how we got from where we were to where we are. And therefore, we can't relate ourselves to an axis of time and space, to the continent of Africa as a space, and to African history as a time, and therefore establish our location in the world and our identity in the world relative to everything else going on in the world. In giving up responsibility for ourselves, in placing our future in the hands of other people, in looking for other people to supply us with jobs, for other people to protect us against danger, for other people to feed us and to protect us and do all of this, we have literally ceded the future to them. And therefore, many of us are caught within a narrow present that is caught up so much in immediate gratification, immediate concerns, until we are constantly rolled over by the future and constantly caught by surprise and are constantly unprepared to deal with the problems that confront us. Other people think in terms of 50 years down the road, 100 years down the road. You can't get our people to think in terms of 2 years down the road. You understand? And the writing of history and the writing about culture and the writing about many other things that are happening in the school is designed to create that mentality in us as a people. And it maintains that mentality in us as a people. A good deal of the violence that we're talking about here today is a result of the fact that our youngsters, along with many of us, are so caught up in the present, so caught up in immediate gratification, you see, that we don't have long-term goals and long-term commitments that stabilizes our behavior. You see, it's long-term goals and long-term commitments, a strong sense of purpose and destiny that you use psychologically to repress dangerous impulses and dangerous notions and get you to measure impulses and notions and desires against future goals and get you to say, hey, I want to go to this party, or hey, I want to, do this and do that, but this is going to jeopardize something that's very important to me down the road, you see, and you put the thing in check. But when people don't have a future commitment, when they don't have long-term goals, when that culture hasn't given them a sense of purpose and destiny, they have no reason not to gratify an impulse. Why? I ain't doing nothing. Why not? I ain't got nothing to do. What's the point? I have no future. You hear some of the young out here say that right now. I have no future. It ain't going nowhere. So why don't I indulge myself? What's the point? Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow you die. You see? And to a great extent, the schools, as well as everything else in this culture, perpetrates that kind of consciousness.